And now is the time for the last session of this 3-day international conference on teaching, learning, and education. And for this, let me take the privilege to call upon the screen uh, the chairperson for the next technical session. Uh, I'm going to call upon the stage Dr. Jyoti Parihar Ma'am, Associate Professor, Department of Bioscience, Government College of Education, Jammu. Uh, Dr. Jyoti Parihar Ma'am has done her PhD in botany. She specializes in plant reproductive biology. She has teaching experience of more than 21 years. She also specializes in pedagogy of bioscience and has 12 years of experience in pedagogy of bioscience. She has 16 paper publications to her credit, which are published in the national and international journals. She is a great scientist, mentor, and a wonderful teacher because she is my teacher. I welcome you, ma'am. We can say that she is a beautiful amalgamation of science, arts, teaching skills, and a scientific temper. So, with these words, may I please welcome you, ma'am, on the screen. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ravinder. Thank you for being so generous with the introduction.
Good evening,
So,
ma'am.
good evening, Sushma, and all the organizers.
Good
Good to
evening,
see
ma'am.
you. Good to see
Good
you.
evening, good evening. Same here, same here. I feel honored to be the part of this knowledgeable event. We are all of us are pondering over all these issues which we are facing for the last 1 year during this pandemic. We all the teachers at the school level or at the higher this education level, we are acting as corona warriors, and we are also struggling hard to adapt new innovative methods, new technologies, and trying to adapt this blended mode of learning to help our students and to help ourselves also, and to for increasing our competence and for making our teaching and learning more effective. So with the not wasting our time, and without further ado, I will let this technical session open for the presentations. And today's in this session, the first presentation, it is a presentation by Miss Pooja Rani, who is from Degree College Udhampur, and she's going to speak on national ICT policy in school education. So, national ICT policy in school education. Pooja, are you there?
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. So,
My
Pooja,
topic is
start.
my topic is National ICT Policy in School Education, and the reason behind to choose this topic is the various problems faced by teachers and students during this pandemic. The word information and communication technologies cover a wide range of topics, and it is characterized as all digital devices, tools, content, resources, and services, as well as those that can be transformed or distributed through digital forms, which can be used to achieve the goals of teaching and learning, enhancing access and reach of sources, capacity building, and management of education system. ICT includes both old and new tools. Old ICT tools consist of mainly TV, radio, and telephone, and new ICT tools include satellites, computers, laptops, wireless technology, and internet. In today's era, these tools are used in combined form at a large scale with the help of massive infrastructure of interconnected telephone services, the internet, radio, and TV, which reaches to every corner of the world. And ICT not only includes the latest technologies, but it also based on the audio visual like a radio, slides, video recorders, television, and etc. So, as per the historical background of the policy, in 1968, the first national education policy was drafted under Indira Gandhi ji, but it was devoid of any mention of educational technology or media. In 1972, the instructional technology program began, and the second education policy was passed under Rajiv Gandhi in 1986. And the 1986 National Education Policy revised in 1992 under P.V. Narasimha Rao and emphasized the use of educational technology to improve the educational quality. And the following are the reasons given by the policymakers for developing new educational policy. Like, education is the base for the preparation of the journey of life. Investment is essential for the success of democracy. Education helps in tackling the emergency circumstances of political and social life. Education fulfills the development needs of every person and many more. And these are some reasons behind the revision of ICT policy. So, two major century-sponsored schemes like educational technology, ET, and computer literacy and studies in schools, that is CLASS, were developed as a result of the policy declaration. So, with the convergence of technology, a thorough examination of all available information and communication technologies for improving school education in the country has become essential. And in last year, the third national education policy is released on 29th July 2020, which proposed significant reforms to India's school and higher education system. So, as per the vision of ICT policy, the main aim of the ICT policy in school education is to prepare teachers and students to contribute creatively to the creation, maintenance, and growth of an information society that leads to the nation's overall socio-economic development. And there are some goals of ICT policy. The ICT policy in school education initiative is primarily motivated by ICT's enormous capacity to enhance and boost education quality. Within a national policy framework, this policy aims to include guidance to assist states in optimizing the use of ICT in school education. So, like to create an environment to develop a community knowledge about ICT, to create an ICT literate community which can deploy, utilize, and benefit from ICT and contribute to nation building, to universal, equitable, open, and free access to state-of-the-art ICT and ICT-enabled tools and resources to all students and teachers, to promote the development of local and localized quality content, and to enable students and teachers to partner in the development and critical use of shared digital resources. Now, after that, what is the need of national ICT policy in school education in today's era? As per the present condition of the country, ICT is playing a vital role in education sector because the COVID-19 pandemic is widely considered to be the most challenging health crisis the world has ever faced, attacking to the society at their core as described by the WHO. The COVID-19 has resulted in schools shut all across the world. Globally, over 1.2 billion children are out of the classroom. As a result, education has changed dramatically with the distinctive rise of e-learning, whereby teaching is undertaken remotely and on digital platforms. The pandemic has forced the education sectors to dramatically shift to virtual and blended modes of teaching and learning using various ICT tools, and has radically accelerated the pace and urgency of various ongoing technology-driven educational initiatives. Students and teachers are now relying on various online platforms to adopt new pedagogical methods to learn and teach. Because the global crisis of the COVID-19 virus has impacted the education sector tremendously, it has presented the education community around the globe with numerous challenges in continuing the learning processes. The Indian education system has also experienced a irreversible learning crisis and the pandemic. School closure across the country has impacted everyone's learning experiences and the pandemic has forced the sector to shift to a virtual and blended mode of learning. In this, ICT has helped the sector to and survive and adapt to the new ways of online learning. The crisis has allowed various educational innovations to bloom. So, there has been a monumental rise in adopting widespread use of online tools like Zoom, Google Classroom, Blackboard mobile applications to facilitate communication with parents, telephone and television and radio to try reach every learner. This global crisis had reiterated the potential of the ICTs in enabling the goal of education access and quality for all children. And to address the challenge of the remote learning, the Ministry of Human Resource Development, MHRD, has undertaken several initiatives to assist students and educators. Some of the initiatives used the already existing digital platforms are like Diksha, digital infrastructure for knowledge sharing, ePathshala, National Repository of Open Educational Resources are used extensively for supporting the students and teachers across the educational resources and relevant training. There are some advantages of ICTs. ICT provides platform for the learning. It may offer flexibility to reach to each individual, relate to the medium and its content. ICT provide the feature of interactivity in which learner can relate to the content more effectively, go forward and backward in the context and start any point depending upon the prior knowledge and experience. If the content is well produced and is of the good quality, then the same quality can be delivered to the rich and the poor, the urban and the rural equally at the same cost. Teaching and learning should be separated from the traditional educational system of school and colleges. As a consequence of ICT, teaching can be personalized and geoclimatic conditions can be resolved. And as the number of students grows, the unit overhead cost decreases even though the initial investment is higher and the content is delivered at a tremendous speed.
So we will start with the other presentation, but in the meantime, let me conclude about this presentation. I want to give the gist of what she was actually saying. It was, I think, about this, that the use of this, the guidelines which the government of India is giving to assist the states in optimizing the use of ICT in school education. Within ICT policy in school education, at preparing the youths to participate creatively in growth of knowledge society, leading to all-round socio-economic development of nation and for global competency. So that is why government is coming forward with this ICT, national ICT policy in education, within the framework of national policy of education. A very good initiative by government of India. So it was a good topic, nice topic. So another, the next second presentation for the day, the topic is very close to my heart. It is regarding women and education. So I believe in this, that the girls' education, it is the lifeline for this development. So we are having with us Pinaki Bakshi. She is a research scholar from the Himachal Pradesh University, and I think Pinaki is also my student. She was my student in B.Ed.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Very good evening. And I'm very glad and happy to see you as my chairperson.
Same here, same here, same here, Pinaki. So your topic is very close to my heart. You know that.
And yes, I also want to confess one thing, that when you used to teach us in the classroom, somewhere I also got motivated, because the real beauty of women is not like looking beautiful and wearing beautiful ornaments. That is education, and that I think I will learn from you. So I'm very happy to see you here.
Thank you for being so generous. And you know that education has completely changed the life of a woman.
Yes,
and that is me and you are here at this platform today,
No doubt.
discussing about all these issues. So start your presentation.
Okay, so my presentation, my paper is very precise and concise, just to the point and very short. So my topic is women and education, and it is one of my favorite topic. The one and only, the one and only strongest weapon in the hands of women in today's time is education, well said by Nelson Mandela. Malala Yousafzai also said, "Our books and our pens are the most powerful weapons." She also confessed that the thing that affected the most to the extremists was a girl with a book and a pen. So, undoubtedly, by above mentioned quotations, it becomes crystal clear that how education has been the powerful dynamic force in the favor of women by which they can conquer the world and can act as a legendary force in bringing a dire required change in our society. Women is inborn strong and extremely determined to her potentials and needs, and getting education to be aided in her profile can act as a perfect booster to her urge of becoming the force of bringing such a revolutionary change in her family, society, and nation as well. Education is the most beautiful ornament hanging around a woman rather than a decorative piece of jewelry around her neck, in the disguise of shackles and expectations that a society expects from her. So, it is irony of today's time that even educated ones do not know the value of education and hence are called by the names like educated illiterates and whatnot. It is because they had education but never implemented in their real lives and hence do not know the pros and cons of that. And most interestingly, if we talk about women, it is them who do not know its value and importance and gets exploited before and after marriage, even if she holds bunch of degrees which they call as education. Unfortunately, women themselves do not realize their worth and importance, and even after acquiring lots of education, they still feel dependent on their families and still get exploited at the hands of society. And in some of the movies, like Tappad, it has been explained very well. But at the end of the day, it becomes pretty important for a woman to understand her worth and also the worth of her most powerful weapon, which is none other than education. If she is educated, not just by holding bunch of degrees, but by implementing those degrees in her real life, then there is nothing that she cannot conquer. She is indomitable, she is unyielding. She is the perfect amalgamation of beauty with mind. But all these traits are only applicable if she will realize the importance of her weapon. Then, even when education is in theory, free the cost of this all these things. And the last, I want to conclude that it is not that it is our birth and we want equality, that is why we want education or we need education, but it's just that we have equal right to stand apart amongst the others in the society. And this is how I can explain from my point of view that how education is the best weapon in the hands of women that she can use, I won't say against people or against patriarchy. So feminism is always I think it displays women and men like equal, they are equal, and it never keep them apart, or it never just draws differences between the two genders, but it's just that we need to understand that we have to use this weapon to revolutionize the society, to bring a positive change in the society, not to make others to feel inferior and us to feel superior. There's nothing thing like that. So this is what I wanted to say at the end of the paper. Thank you.
So well done, very well done, Pidaki. So I also agree with you that an educated woman has the skill, information, and self-confidence that she needs to be what? A better parent, a better worker, and a competent citizen. And you are very right in saying this, that if a woman is educated, it is a powerful weapon which help her to conquer every battle of her life.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
any question from audience? It is open for discussion now, so you can ask the questions. Ravinder? कोई है ऑडियंस में से किसी ने कुछ पूछना है? नहीं?
Abhimanyu sir, we are missing your questions since the morning. Today you are,
Abhimanyu sir
it
है नहीं
seems,
आज?
yeah, he's there, I guess, but we are missing your questions since the morning, sir, where you are today. And more questions are, you know, are needed from the audience side, because it seems that you are just here, but you are not, asking questions. And it also can be same.
But this topic is undebatable. This topic, women and education, everybody will speak in favor of this. I don't think that there is any scope for any questions. But still, if there is any, I would also be happy to give the answers. And Pinaki is there. She's expert in her field.
And one more thing, I think she has presented it so wonderfully that it has left no trace of question in their minds. So I think this may be the cause.
And it is reflected in her personality also. Just see. So, okay. Thank you, Pinaki. Thank you very much. Okay. So with this, let us move to our...
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Ma'am, I am from Government University, Yuvani. I have just a simple question to all of you. I have heard the whole recording, and the one question still lies in my mind: is this education which when we teach our students that education is what is education, what is help? When we go on lifelong learning, can it be always helpful?
When we
Ma'am,
lifelong learning,
I got the...
Yeah, Pinaki.
I think I got her question, that she wants to ask that teacher, they usually teach in the class to students that what is education or what is the definition, or we go through many definitions of education, but what is real? I mean, what I think that she's trying to ask, that really people, do they really implement in their real lives? And as a teacher, yes, and as a teacher and as a student, I would like to say no, not at all. Whatever teachers are teaching in the classroom, it is just limited in the four walls of classroom. And I won't say even the four walls of classroom, but even the students, I don't think so they even in today's generation even understand the meaning of education, because the real motive of education purpose is to bring a change in society, is to transform our personality. But I think people, they don't implement this in real lives. This is the worst irony of our educational system, which I personally feel so. Because students, they know what is education. If you will ask them, they will give you hundreds of definitions of education. But when you will ask them the general question regarding society or regarding their life, they won't be able to answer, because they have just crammed and they have just that rote memory, but they don't know the real value of education. That at the end of when they are graduating from a college or institution, they should be transformed, their personalities should be transformed, but they are not. It means they are not imbibing education in real sense. They are just learning and roting everything.
I would just like to just point out discussion that if the teachers are good, Pinaki, what I feel, if the teachers are good, they will always inculcate these values in their students. What I feel, and that means there is a lack in the teaching, not in the lack as a student, right? So it's upon a good teacher how he or she takes up the class.
No doubt, ma'am. But I think it's a two-way process. Now, if teacher is best, if teacher is giving her best, but students, even they are so like lazy, lethargic students. I don't understand. I'm not saying all, but some of the students or most of the today's generation that I can feel, I can see.
But it depends on a teacher. We as a teachers have to motivate them to come up out of that real level. I mean, this is what I generally do for my class, that I teach them, okay, this English, of course, I teach them English, but beside them, I teach them what actually is education, right? What are the values? I think Jyoti ma'am can give a small help.
Yes, Pinaki, the real aim of education is not only to give knowledge, not only the knowledge, but understanding, application, and creativity. Unless we are applying the education in the real life situation to solve our problem, then it's not real education.
Yes, ma'am.
So the real education is when we are making use of that education,
In
we are
our
applying those principles and we are internalizing those values, and those values, they become an attitude
yes,
in our
ma'am.
life. For example, whatever is reflected in your personality, your punctuality, your attitude, your sincerity towards your work, that is all a part of your personality, that has become an attitude in your personality, and that was inculcated from the very beginning, from that particular institution of which you are a part once upon a time when you
Yes,
took
ma'am.
admission in the KG class. And
Yes,
after that, step by step, and now you are at this position that you can discuss with the experts at this platform. So education is not only to for the cognitive development, but it is for this development effective domain, and it should become a value in your life. Honesty is the best policy. We read a story in the class, but when it become a virtue, when we try to internalize it, when we try to go in depth of this particular this statement, then only it will become a value in your. Be punctual. हम लोग क्यों नहीं पंक्चुअलिटी क्यों नहीं आती, क्यों गवर्नमेंट को बायोमेट्रिक एंड दिस एंड दैट इतना कुछ करना पड़ रहा है? बिकॉज
yes, ma'am.
वी आर नॉट अडॉप्टिंग दीज थिंग्स. हम लोग इसको वैल्यू बना के नहीं चल रहे हैं. So that is why we are not contributing in the national development. जब हम सब लोग education को क्या करेंगे, it will become a value in our life. We will internalize all these things. It will be for knowledge, understanding, and we will apply this education in the real life. Only then, what will happen? We will be contributing in the national development, and the goals and the aims, they will be
Yes, ma'am.
attained. Okay.
Of course, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any question? और कोई किसी को और कुछ पूछना है? Very nice, good. It was good to discuss all these things. So let us move to our next presentation. So
Yes, ma'am.
the
We
next
will begin our valedictory at 5:30 sharp. So we have 20 minutes.
5:30.
And
Yeah.
two
So we will give
participants.
7
you.
minutes to each presenter. Okay.
Right.
So we will be having with us Aarti Mahajan from Government Degree College, Aknoor, and she will be speaking on role of ICT in education. Thank you, Pinaki. Thank you very much. So,
Thank you.
Good evening, all of you. I am Aarti Mahajan and I am going to present my paper on the topic Role of ICT in Education. ICT. What is it? ICT is an acronym that stands for Information Communication Technology. There is no such universally accepted definition of ICT because the concepts, methods, and applications involved in ICT are constantly goes on changing. In simple terms, we can say that ICT covers any product that will store, retrieve, manipulate, transmit, or receive information electronically in a digital form. For example, personal computers, digital televisions, emails, etc. Now comes the uses of ICTs. Today, ICT including laptops wirelessly connected to the internet, personal digital assistants, low-cost video cameras and cell phones have become affordable, accessible and integrated in large sections of the society throughout the world. ICTs also allows for the creation of digital resources like digital libraries where the students, teachers and professionals can access research material from any place at any time. Use of ICT in education develops higher order skills such as collaborating across time and place and solving complex real world problems. It improves the perception and understanding of the world of the student. Thus, ICT can be used to prepare the workforce for the information society and the new global economy. Role of ICT in classroom teaching. The role of ICT at different stages of education can be discussed. ICT at primary level. The role of ICT at different stages of education can be discussed. ICT at primary level. Use of ICT provides ways and means of improving as well as shortening the journal education period so that students can grow as good citizens and at the same time meet the demands of technological society. This can be achieved through two strategies: curriculum development and appropriate methods of instruction. ICT in higher education. ICT is not just a new activity, as it started out as computer assisted learning. Earlier, its use was restricted to a small specialist group of enthusiast academics, but now our approach should be to view the role of ICT in terms of the way it can affect conventional teaching situations. ICT in distance education. Multi-channel learning is the hallmark of distance education. The successive generations of distance education have actually built up upon only exception in the internet generation, where all the channels have been integrated into one. Even in the intermediate version, distance instruction adopt the following delivery modes: printed material, radio and television, audio and video programs, personal contact programs, formative and summative schedules. Technological devices used in the field of education. E-readers. Electronic readers are like small and flat computers capable of holding vast amount of information, particularly electronic version of books. Laptop computers. While computers used to be bulky machines relegated to desks, offices, and labs, laptops allow students to take their computers into the classrooms. Even without the internet, laptops makes it easier for some students to take notes in class. Electronic notes and can be sent to peers who did not attend class. MP3 players. It may also be used for classroom purpose. It can be used for language classes so that students can listen and practice their verbal communication outside the classroom. Interactive whiteboards. It can be used to display computer images like slideshow presentations and videos, and to make real-time notes that the class can see. Combining the advantages of a traditional blackboard with a computer, technology enables teachers to increase the interactivity of their lessons and to save them for the future classes. Overhead projectors. It is a very basic but reliable form of projector. It displays images onto a screen or wall. This saves time since the transparency can be pre-printed and used repetitively rather than having materials written manually before each class. Educational television. It is the most potential means for educating masses and thereby narrowing the gap of progress between developed and developing countries of the world. It can be an important central media in providing functional, formal, and non-formal education to the masses. Teleconferencing. Teleconferencing or interactive television is a two-way electronic communication between two or more individuals who are at a separate locations. It combines TV viewing with interactivity of the internet and personal computer. At last, in my concluding remarks, I just want to say that ICT must be used in the field of education in order to make learner a lifelong learner and successful contributor to the new global market. We have to make technology an integrated tool in the field of education. Thank you all.
So, very nice, Aarti. It was a nice presentation in which you are discussing about the role of ICT in education, and you were focusing upon this that we can use this ICT in education, but it depends upon the curriculum development and formulating the various strategies by which we can develop the curriculum according to the needs of the society, keeping this principle of curriculum development in our mind. And then the curriculum will be of that type, the methodology will be of that type, strategies will be adopted, and then we will be able to use this ICT completely at all the levels, at primary level, secondary levels, higher level. And we can adopt, as we are adapting nowadays also, this blended mode of learning to achieve this purpose of education. So this was knowledgeable. Any question from the audience? Any question? It is open for the discussion now. So there is no question. So thank you very much, Aarti. So
thank you, ma'am.
So let us move to the this last presentation of this technical session, and this is about the study of the use of web resources in the teaching learning process of English language in the colleges of Udupi district, Karnataka state. And the presenter is Mr. Sridhar Bhatt. Mr. Sridhar Bhatt.
Yeah, I am here. Good evening, madam.
Good evening, Sridhar ji.
Dr. Jyoti madam, Ravindra Kumar sir, Shubhra madam, and all the delegates. I am the last presenter, and I will take only 4 to 5 minutes to conclude the.
But this is very interesting topic, and we will we want to get enlightened
Definitely.
About the various web resources.
Yes,
because we know that the internet is brimming with all these web resources.
Yeah, this COVID time has made us aware of the benefits of technology. Otherwise, it would have been simply on the paper.
Yeah.
Now we are living in the digital age, and there is a huge gap between the present generation and the older generation of teachers. So older generation of teachers are somewhat still happy with the traditional methods of teaching in English language classrooms. Whereas the younger generation of students are technology friendly, they belong to the digital revolution, and their expectations are somewhat different. So in this regard, I actually wanted to visit some 16 colleges which are selected randomly for my study and to see the availability of infrastructure there. Government is spending a lot of money on providing projectors, computers, laptops, smartphone, tabs, etc. But whether it is reaching the learner exactly, or whether the teachers are motivated to teach them using ICT in the teaching learning process, that was the problem which was confronting me. Therefore, I visited those 16 colleges, and I will only tell you about the observations that I have made. I don't want to elaborate on the statistical figures and all those things. So interestingly, out of 16 colleges, 9 colleges were equipped with computers, projectors, and digital equipment needed to access the internet. And the rest of the colleges had a very poor infrastructure. They had only basic instruments to access the internet and to do the office work and evaluation or whatever, student database, all those things. And even in the 9 colleges which had very good infrastructure, hardly 80% of the teachers had the necessary inclination towards using technology. Not that they are using exactly. Those who are using is only 45%. And others have the knowledge, but somehow they feel that they are comfortable with the use of traditional methods of teaching. There appears to be a sort of fear in their mind regarding whether they are going to be successful, whether they will be able to handle the learners in the classroom while using technology, whether there may be any sort of failure. So all these questions were haunting their mind. So even though they are digitally equipped with the necessary skills, they are not inclined towards the use of technology. And finally, only 12% of the teachers are totally aware of the presence of Android apps such as Duolingo, Busuu, Memrise, and other apps. And they are recommending those apps to the learners of English language so that they can practice various skills of language such as listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So those are the core skills. And in the present day scenario, the mastery over those skills in English language is very, very essential for getting a good employment globally. Therefore, finally, I have come out with the suggestions. These suggestions are quite interesting. First of all institutions of higher education should be digitally equipped with the state-of-the-art tools such as a smart board in every classroom. So governments spend a lot on so many things. Why not spending for the betterment of the students? And every class should have access to internet, high-speed internet, uninterrupted power supply, so that teachers are compelled to use technology, mandatory. And it should be such that they should learn how to manage an LMS, learning management system, for keeping the records of the students, to prepare lesson plans, to conduct online tests. They should make it compulsory for the teachers. Then only teachers will show interest in such things. Otherwise, they will somehow move towards the traditional methods of teaching only, wherein they have the text in their hand or just the blackboard writing, and they will never use technology in the teaching learning process. Moreover, there is a need to train the teachers in this regard. Some teachers complain that no institution has given them training regarding the use of ICT. They have never heard of Android apps or web resources for teaching English language, except a few websites which provide notes and study materials. And if this is the scenario, who will teach the learner and who will motivate the learners to use web resources for learning English? Web is especially a beautiful storehouse of knowledge. So a learner cannot learn within the four walls of the classroom nowadays. He has to go beyond the classroom, learn at his own pace, learn what is interesting for him, evaluate himself in such an atmosphere where there is no anxiety, no fear. So this is the beauty of modern technology. When such a facility is available at a very limited cost, why not the teachers take interest in motivating and guiding the learners? So in fact, they should be trained in this regard, who in turn would train the students. This is what I have concluded in my study. So thank you for listening to my brief presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Sridhar sir. Thank you. It was a very knowledgeable presentation, and it was quite good that we have to change the mindset of those teachers who are bent upon only using only the traditional methods of teaching. But the suggestions, they were very good, that yes, all the institutions, they should be well equipped with these modern gadgets of these ICT, these tools. So, and the teachers, they should be given training to handle these equipment, so that they should be trained, and they should they should not feel that hesitation in adapting and innovating this education by adapting these tools. So this was quite informative, that every classroom, it should be digitally equipped, and the most important of it was that there should be a change in those teachers who are bent upon only using the traditional method of teaching, and the younger yes, generation of teachers who are very comfortable in using the ICT. Yes. So this was quite informative, and you have your study, it is data based. And Thank you. Any question from the audience? The house is open for the discussion. So Sridhar sir is here to take your questions.
Definitely.
Not exactly question, but a compliment to sir. Wonderful paper, sir. And yes. Sir, I would just like to pour in my views, because I being from J&K, our Department of Higher Education is doing a lot. And even if I talk about my own college, Government College of Education, we all our classrooms have digital boards and internet is up there. And within no span of time, we started, touching all the internet technologies, and it became very fast, this process. So as far as government of J&K is doing, we are really taking a boost.
Very good job. Very good job. And we are using this, and that is why our college has taken a lead to organize this international conference.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your college should be a model for others.
Yeah. So we are trying to adapt this, or I can say that we have adopted it.
Yeah.
With an open heart. Okay. So thank you very much, Sridhar sir.
Thank you, madam.
With this, I would like to over to now this Ravinder for this. I think Shubhra, it is now 5:27, and for valedictory session, I would like to hand over this stage to Ravinder. So Ravinder, please. Thank you, organizers. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for joining us and chairing the session so well.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti Parihar, ma'am. It was a wonderful session chaired by you. You chaired the session so wonderfully, and the equally wonderful were the presenters, and they were wonderful, flawless, and the papers were amazing. Thank you so much, everyone.
And we have kept this time consideration in our mind, and it is exactly 5:28. So
And thank you so much for that, ma'am.
it was well
Yes,
managed.
special thanks for that.
Okay.
So with this, we are done with all the technical sessions of the third day of the 3-day international virtual conference on teaching, learning, and education. And these 3 days were amazing, wonderful, and so, I would say enriching, that our minds are get filled with so many ideas and so many queries which were there earlier. They have got resolved, And now let us begin with the valedictory function of this 3-day international conference on teaching, learning, and education. And for this, I would like to welcome on the screen our worthy principal, ma'am, Dr. Kulwinder Kaur, ma'am, for the welcome address.
Thank you, Ravinder. A very pleasant evening to everyone present here with us. As you all know, that education is the passport to the future, but tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. On that note, I take pleasure of having the opportunity to welcome all of you to valedictory function of this international virtual conference on teaching, learning, and education, jointly organized by Government College of Education, Jammu, State Islamic Institute, Madura, Indonesia, Universitas Al Ashrae, Bandar, Indonesia, Universitas Muhammad Sidrang, Rapang, Indonesia, in collaboration with Cape Comorin Trust, Literary Club, and Cape Comorin Publishers. My heartiest welcome to our chief guest of today's function, Mr. Sanjeev Rana Sir, Additional Secretary to Government, Department of Higher Education, UT of J&K. Sir, I sincerely thank you for sparing your valuable time from your busy schedule to grace this occasion. Sir, your presence has really motivated all of us. I also welcome all the principals of various degree colleges who have various degree colleges who have joined us across country. I feel immense pleasure to welcome dignitaries from abroad, our plenary speakers for today, Dr. ASA Firdaus from Malaysia, Dr. Umar Bukhari from Indonesia, Dr. Saidana Julfikar bin Tahir from Indonesia, Muhammad Samir Nada, Egypt. My special thanks to Dr. R.S. Regin Silvest, President of Cape Comorin Trust, Dr. R.S. Rubin Silvest, Secretary Cape Comorin Trust, Dr. Frank Joyson Sathya, President, Lavender Literary Club. I also welcome the chairpersons, advisors, coordinators, convener, and organizing secretary of the event. From the deep core of my heart, I welcome each one of you for joining us today. My heartfelt thanks to all for being a part of this conference and making it a big success. I feel that the motive behind this conference is fulfilled, sir. The main outcome of this conference, in my opinion, was to come up with national or international framework for the education system in the future. I hope this 3-day virtual conference has helped the participants expand their mental horizons and would help the Indian education system adopt the best from the education systems across the globe. I end with a quote by Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Thanks all. Today, we will release the abstract book of the conference with the ISBN number. For your kind information, this book is edited by Dr. Shubhra Jamwal. Now I request Dr. Shubhra Jamwal to attend our gathering with a report of this 3 days long international conference. Thank you. Thanks all.
Thank you, ma'am. So before we, with the permission of the chair, the guest, we will just release. But before that, I will just read out the report of 3-day conference. Respected dignitaries and my fellow academicians, it brings me immense pleasure to present the report of this 3-day international virtual conference on teaching, learning and education organized by Government College of Education, Jammu, in collaboration with State Islamic Institute, Madura, Indonesia, Vistas Muhammadiyah Sidrang Repang, Indonesia, Vistas Al Raisya Mandar, Indonesia, Cape Comorin Trust, India, Lavender Literary Club, India, in association with Cape Comorin Publisher. Well, this was a very enlightening conference, and we started with this event under the guidance of Madam Sushma Chauhan, IAS, Secretary to Government Higher Education Department, UT of J&K, and Sanjeev Rana sir, who is our chief guest also today. He is Additional Secretary to Government Higher Education Department, UT of Jammu and Kashmir. And of course, under the patronage of our principal ma'am, Dr. Kulwinder Kaur. Day one began, that was the inaugural, with the chief guest with Madam Sushma Chauhan. She appreciated the Government College of Education for Jammu for organizing such a big event on a virtual platform during this pandemic time. She disclosed that higher education is in the process of finalizing the strategies for the implementation of national education policy, and will roll out very soon. Will roll out with all the efforts, the objectives, and will be achieved within the curriculum with the time frame specified by the Ministry of Human Resource Development. Further, the principal of the college, Dr. Kulwinder Kaur, in her inaugural address, talked about the aims of the conference, that is to bring out the recent innovation trends and concerns, as well as the practical challenges that were encountered and solutions adopted in the fields of teaching, learning and education. Dr. J.N. Balia, Head, Department of Education Studies, Central University of Jammu, delivered the keynote address and highlighted the aims and objectives of national education policy. Dr. Sushma Bala, who was the convener of the event, presented the vote of thanks on day one. Day one also had technical sessions and plenary sessions. All the 3 days had lots of technical sessions and plenary sessions. So during these 3 days, apart from the technical sessions, 13 plenary sessions were organized, in which eminent scholars shared their wisdom with us. I'll just chalk out the names of those speakers. They were Dr. Amitabh Vikram Dwivedi from SMVDU Katra, Dr. Naima Munir from University of Pakistan, Lahore, Dr. Rashid Minot from Sialkot, Pakistan, Dr. Azmit Neamati from Islamic Azad University, Iran, Dr. Chris T. Chilza from Philippines, Muhammad Amir Hussain from Bangladesh, Daniel Kagrin Clara, she was from Europe, Dr. Mona Taman was from Egypt, Dr. Vivekaran from Sri Lanka, Dr. Umar from Indonesia, Dr. Muhammad Zafar from Indonesia, Dr. A.S. Firdaus from Malaysia, Dr. Saidana from Indonesia. In these 14 technical sessions, 90 papers were presented. Even though we had almost 100 plus papers, but we selected only 90 papers, and they were presented by the academicians from the various countries. The papers were explored in the areas of education, teaching, learning, equipped participants with the latest tools and methods of teaching, threw light on challenges and the scopes of outline teaching during this odd pandemic time. These technical sessions were chaired by the eminent personalities and expert scholars of the international repute. To say few, Dr. Reema Devi from Kalishkam, Tamil Nadu, Professor Anita Beloria. We were lucky to have her twice as a resource person. Professor Iqbal Mattu from University of Kashmir, Dr. Kavita Suri from University of Jammu, Dr. Neeraj from Bodh Gaya University, Dr. Ritu Mangotra from GCW Parade, Dr. Prachi from Sharda University, Dr. Rishikesh from EFSLE New Delhi, Dr. Monica Sethi again from University of Jammu, Dr. Anita Sharma from University of Shimla, Dr. S. Bharati from Sastra Deemed University, Dr. Sushma Bala from Government College of Education, and Dr. Jyoti Parihar from GCOA. So the event was a great success, and it was successfully moderated by Ravindra Rao, Akriti Kaur, and Sunaina Kapoor, our NSS volunteers. Every day report was presented by Kuwar Abhimanyu Dev Singh, who was one of the most active participants also. The technical support of the event was provided by Cape Comorin Trust and Lavender Literary Club. So with this note, with the permission of our chief guest, if sir permits me, I would like to share my screen to inaugurate the ISBN abstract. So.
Okay, sure. Go ahead,
Thank
please.
you, sir. So I'll just share my screen. I think this is a new kind of an inauguration which we are doing because we are never used to this, but see, the technology has taught us this also. Ravinda, can you please help me?
Yes, ma'am. It's visible, ma'am. Your presentation is visible.
Thank you. I'll just open the ISBN. Can you see this now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So this is the cover page of the 3-day international virtual conference, as all of you can see. So this is a book of the abstract proceeding which of the conference, and all the abstracts which were accepted are in this book, and this book has an ISBN number also, that is a EISBN number, and I got this opportunity to edit these papers and abstracts. Later on, all these papers, full papers, will be published with ISBN number in a peer-reviewed journal. So various topics and about the conference, various topics were discussed. Organizing committee, our patrons, co-patrons, coordinators, advisors. A big thanks to all of them who have really cooperated and make this event a great success. So this is the content. So there are 86 papers in this abstract book, sir. we will release it. We will send this abstract book to the individuals in their respected mails, and that will be given to them in their respective mails. So with
Sir,
this,
we should clap for this abstract book.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. It's all your efforts and blessings and encouragement of our higher education department, which is giving us so much of opportunity to come up with these events, especially in this time too. So over to you, Ravinder.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a new way of releasing the abstract. I think this is the real implication of ICT in education, and we are learning that, and we are proud that our college is doing the bestest thing that it can do. Thank you, ma'am, for the report of the conference. And now, let me take the privilege to call upon the screen Kunwar Abhimanyu Dev Singh Bilavaria, sir, for the feedback for the whole conference, for the 3-day conference. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Ravinder. So first of all, a very warm, it is still very warm yet not hot. So a very warm good evening to all the participants and chairpersons and all the dignitaries present here. So with the permission of the chair, I would like to share a few my views and some feedback about this 3-day international conference on teaching, learning and education, teaching and learning. So though I have been very excited for this conference during this pandemic war, pandemic time, I feel that it is the privilege of all the participants that even at this point, even when we are locked down and locked up as well in the houses, we have the opportunity to grow ourselves academically, intellectually. So I think that Dr. Regin, who is one of the mastermind behind such conferences, I congratulate him, and we really are grateful to you, sir, that Dr. Regin, that you gave us the technical support and helped us in organizing this event. Then talking about the organizers, we have Dr. Sushma Bala Chauhan, who had been very actively sitting from day 1 to day 2 to day 3 till now. She is sitting over there. So even Ravinder is there, Principal Ma'am is there, Dr. Shubhra is there, then Nana is there. So there are many other students whom I can't take their names, but I know that they were there. So their continuous presence also motivated lots of participants to come and join and enhance themselves academically. Now, with talking about the sessions, the entire during those 3 days, there were, at Dr. Shubhra has reported already, that there were more than 80 papers, approximately 90, I assume 90 papers were presented. So in those 90 papers, the theme of this, or the aim and objective of this workshop was accurately met. That is learning and enhancing during the time of pandemic, and what are the tools and the technology that a teacher can use, what are the challenges that teacher faces while teaching. Lots of participants, lots of plenary speakers, and many other chairpersons, they shared a very common problem in field of education, whether from Bangladesh or Pakistan or Iran or from India itself. They all talked about that they face the problem in education during the time of pandemic. But there is one thing which is very appreciable about all the teachers and the participants who are present here. I spoke yesterday also about the same in one of the discussion, that we are talking about Swachh Bharat Abhiyan for more than 6-7 years. and still we are adapting to it. We are talking about being non-corruptional in our behavior and in various public and government and private sectors, and still we are working on it. But when it comes to the online teaching, immediately there was immediately declare of the lockdown, immediately without any transition period, education immediately shifted to online teaching, and it is commendable job by the teachers who immediately moved to the online teaching. Though we took years from coming from one state of mind to another, but teachers community is so flexible and so their adaptability is so strong that they are able to shift, and that is why we are able to organize such kind of 3 days international conference, and that is why many challenges and prospects were discussed over here. All in all, if we have in the next year, if I have to say, it was very enriching. It was very enriching, both in terms of experience, both in terms of academics also, and the international exposure while sitting at your own hometown, sitting in your own study room or in your own bedroom, or sometimes sitting at your own dining table. We are lucky enough to get this international exposure by sitting at the home. So I hope, so I'm sure this workshop was very beneficial to all the participants over here, and before I leave, I would like to say and congratulate the organizers and who diligently worked toward the success of this workshop. And Dr. Shubhra, you have edited this e-abstract e-book. So I know on such a short notice you did it. So congratulations to you also and to your team also. That's all I have to say from my side. Thank you so much. Ravinder, over to you now.
Thank you so much, Abhimanyu sir. And it is always wonderful to listen to your enriching words. And thank you so much for such a wonderful and a beautiful feedback for all the 3 days of the 3-day international virtual conference. Thank you so much, sir. And now let me take the privilege to call upon the screen our worthy chief guest, sir, for the valedictory function. Mr. Sanjeev Rana, sir, Secretary to Higher Education Department, Government of UT of Jammu and Kashmir. Sir, it gives me an immense pleasure to announce your name. Over to you, sir.
Thank you for inviting me to this valedictory function. And first of all, I wish a very good and sweet evening to all of the participants who are actually present here. Actually, you have been discussing these things for the last 3 days, and a lot of things might have come into your mind, and new knowledge also regarding the transformation in education, and how we are likely to bring a paradigm shift in our understanding of the education, in fact. And I think there is no need to talk about all this, but still, just as a gesture of giving you a just hint about what we actually need to do in the situation like the present COVID pandemic, and the other situation that we would be facing in the near future. We have to be prepared like this. Nobody knew, I think, in before about 2020, what we will be delivering over lectures online, and we'll be conducting such types of the virtual conferences. But this situation has in fact provided us a lot of opportunity to create innovations, such type of innovations where we could even sit together from our home and connect to the world. This is really a great transformation in our understanding, also understanding of the common things that actually happen in the education scenario. Dear friends, it's very, you know, as uh, we are in the middle of this COVID pandemic, and second wave is quite great danger than it was the previous, and our colleges are closed. Online learning is online teaching learning is being conducted. We have already sensitized our faculty to what's such type of the thing, and they are making their e-content also. But learning is not only just grasping the thing, but experiencing the things is a very essential aspect of the uh, teaching learning process, and I'm sure that might have been deliberated at depth during these 3 days brainstorming session. Particularly, I am very happy to know that people from Egypt, people from Indonesia, and even from Pakistan, and some people from Europe have joined this session, and all of you might have gained a lot of from these dignitaries. My heartiest congratulations to this principal and staff of College of Education, Jammu, for organizing this international virtual conference. And I wish that these type of the conferences should be part of our daily business, educational business, and some student participants should also be encouraged here for joining these conferences, so that they can get also get to know what is happening around the world, and what is happening actually in the arena of the education. That I think they should be also encouraged to present their views, present their papers, and publish their papers also in such type of hashtags that Shubhra Madam has just released. And this will definitely give them encouragement, and will prepare them for their future pursuit in the research and education field. We are since 2019 we are holding such type of the conferences, and we are actually supporting our colleges to go ahead for such type of the conferences, and we get a good response from them also. But most of the time, what happened due to some constants, the conferences do not go the way as it should have been. But what I feel from here, from the responses of our participants, that it has been a good, very good, and well organized type of the conference, and for that I congratulate all these organizers here. Especially, I'm given to know that this has been organized. This conference has been organized in association with some institution from Indonesia and Cape Comorin Trust, and I, from the deep core of my heart, welcome them and congratulate them from being with us, and hope for our future collaborations also in such type of the endeavors. Maybe this would be just out of my feeling for you, that I wish a very, very great success for all of you, and well, in good health, especially in this situation, pandemic situation, a good health for all of you. Thank you very much for inviting me to this session. I'm again very much thankful to the principal of GCOE and the other organizers and all the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sanjeev Rana, sir, for your words of appreciation and love for all of us and all the organizers of the conference. Sir, thank you so much for taking out time for us from your busy schedule, and thank you so much for gracing the occasion with your divine presence, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
And now, I would like to call upon the screen Dr. Sushma Bala Chauhan ma'am, convener of the 3-day international conference on teaching, learning, and education, for a formal vote of thanks. So over to you, ma'am.
Unmute yourself.
Okay. Thank you, Shubhra. Thank you, Ravinder, for giving me the chance for this vote of thanks in the valedictory section. Namaskar and a very lovely good evening to one and all present here on the screen. I, Dr. Sushma Bala, Senior Assistant Professor, Government College of Education, Jammu, JNK, UT, India, on behalf of our worthy principal, Dr. Kulvinder Kaur, and the entire team of GCOE Jammu, deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion of 3-day international conference on the theme Teaching, Learning and Education, jointly organized by Government College of Education, Jammu, JNK, UT, India, State Islamic Institute, Madura, Indonesia, Universitas Muhammadiyah Sdn Repong, Indonesia, Universitas Al Asiraya Mandar, Indonesia, Cap Comrin Trust India, Lavender Literary Club India, in collaboration with Cap Comrin Publishers India. Let me first of all start by giving glory to the Almighty God for making this conference a resounding success. I extend my special thanks to our chief guest, Mr. Sanjeev Rana sir, Additional Secretary Higher Education Department, JNK, UT, India, to spare out time from his busy schedule for accepting our invitation to grace the event. Respected sir, a very hearty vote of thanks for gracing the valedictory function and sharing with this august gathering your vision of education. We all are inspired by your gracious presence, sir. Thank you so much. I'm also here to thank worthy principal ma'am, Dr. Kulvinder Kaur. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your enormous support and guidance to make this international level conference possible. This event wouldn't have been successful without your valuable suggestions and advices. I also express my heartfelt thanks to all the principals of various degree colleges who have joined us across the globe. I extend my most sincere thanks to all the speakers who shared their precious knowledge, spared out their valuable time for enlightening us with their commendable talk on conference theme Teaching, Learning and Education. I also thank all the chairpersons for chairing the technical sessions and sharing their valuable comments towards the improvement of quality of papers presented in the conference. I am also thankful to all the presenters present here, research scholars, students, faculty members who have presented their research work in the conference very beautifully. I would like to thank especially to the student volunteers, organizing team, advisory board of GCOE Jammu, my dear participants, and some active participants like Kumar Abhimanyu sir. Special thanks to you also, sir. The reinforcing force behind this event, who made this event sincerely with their sincerely efforts to enhance the quality, Dr. Regin Sylvest, President Cape Comrin, and Organizing Secretary Dr. Shubhra Jamwal. Thank you so much for making this event a big success. Thank you, each one of you whose contribution has made this conference really a successful conference. Once again, I feel honored to thank you, Madam Sushma Chauhan, Secretary Higher Education Department, JNK UT India, and Mr. Sanjeev Rana, Sir, Additional Secretary Higher Education Department, being our chief guests in this 3-day international conference, and applauding and showering their blessings to make this conference a big success even in this pandemic period. Thank you so much. Dhanyavad.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a wonderful and a nice vote of thanks. And I must say that without your support...
Sorry to interrupt, Ravinder. I would like to thank Sushma ma'am for organizing this event. She's the convener, the main lead of this conference. She motivated all of us together, and thank you, ma'am, for all your support. So you also need a great applause.
Not only support, but also ever smiling face that kept us motivating to come and sit in all the sessions.
Yes, it was very difficult to sit since 9:30 till evening. I think almost 6, 7
p.m. every day, constantly with the same smile, beautiful smile. So, ma'am, hats off to you too.
Thanks. It's all your motivational factors which lead us to move on. Thank you.
And I think I should also thank all the NSS volunteers who were there from the day first, and all the professors from GCOE and all over the world who were there to make the conference a big success. Various principals from various colleges of Jammu and other states and from abroad also. I welcome and I thank them all. And with this, we are end up with the 3rd day also and the 3-day international conference on teaching, learning and education.